let's get to the nomenclatures. There's two nomenclatures we're going to focus on. And that is the IUPAC, which will be the easy one, and then the common one, which is the goofy one. And then the attachments to that are pretty easy to figure out from there. So in IUPAC, we're gonna go 1 through 6 and then benzene for this. So it'll be pretty easy to follow along. Like I said, particularly the IUPAC. The common thing they probably with, but it isn't that bad. IUPAC based on the longest continuous chain of carbon. So the first one is this compound right here. And the IUPAC name for that, well, the longest continuous chain is a methane. Now, you got to be careful on the naming of this stuff here, because it gets mixed up with the common, and that's when things get a little nasty. This is a methane. But we drop the E, and instead of calling this methanic acid, they insist on an O in the suffix. I do not know why, because that creates issues with the common, but it is what it is. Methanoic acid. So this is the identification of the functional group. Sorry, I just put an alcohol there. Let me fix that. Yeah, that's all that was. Just a little dot there that might get mistaken for something else. So let me go ahead and get rid of that. Roll back in there. Perfect. Wonderful. Beautiful. Anyway, the functional group, of course, is the carbonyl group of the OH. That's what we're looking at. And that tells you that you're dealing with carboxylic acid. A lot of people see the OH and go, oh, alcohol. But you got to look to see this does a lot of oxygen there, so be careful with that. Now, turns out, have you ever been bitten by red ants? When I lived in Georgia, we had tons of red ants all over the place, and they hurt. And it wasn't because they had long fangs that just kind of milled their mouths and just shot out 3 feet in the air and then went down into your body. No, it wasn't because of the teeth. It was actually a chemical injection into your skin that is used to a pH of 7. And they inject into your skin something that has a pH between 0 and 1. That hurts. Now those ants, they were known as form in Latin days. So this is known as formic acid. Now notice, there is no OIC here. It's just IC acid. And all the acid that we dealt with in Chem 1, and you're about to deal with in Chem 2, next chapter, you're not going to see an O unless you're dealing with organic acid. So I guess the O comes from organic. Maybe. Never thought of it until now. Number 2. 2 carbons. There's your 2 carbon one. Beautiful. And this is an ethane, so this becomes ethanoic acid. For the common name, they found this in vinegar. If you let wine sit around, or grape juice even for that matter, or any kind of fruity soup, fructosey thing going on in your mixture with a little yeast and a little fermentation going on, you will get an alcohol. That's how they make alcohols, is by fermenting fruit sugars, not sugar like table sugar. That doesn't work. It's got to be a fruit sugar like a grape or a potato or a juniper berry or corn. They all have fructose in them. But if you let it sit too long, it turns into vinegar. It's a process called oxidation. And so they found this stuff in vinegar. And vinegar back then was called acid, like acidy, only it's spelled A-C-E-T. So the name of this compound was acetic acid. ACET means acid. So I guess the technical meaning for this is acid. And this one up here, the form, means ant. So I guess that's antacid. But different antacid than your heartburn stuff. That's antitic acid. They cut short of antacid. Moving on, number 3. Now, this is going to answer a couple of questions that you may have had when you first were introduced to the hydrocarbons. Well, first of all, let's get this one out of the way. You can see there's not going to be any attachments to the first carbon, ever. This is always considered the first carbon. Because you have 4 lines on the carbon, it can't get any more. You can't figure this out. No. Propane, longest continuous chain. This is pentanoic acid. Oh, so common name. Well, where do they find this? Well, they have a kind of a weed Italy called the propion, and they are able to get out, extract a liquid out of the weed. It's either a weed or a flower, I'm not 100% sure. So we call it propionic acid. So propion is the name of the vegetation to the flora, that's better, the flora of Italy. You see that the 3-carbon compound they eventually figured out, many years later, prop is what they use for the 3-carbon name here. It's stuck over here, so this is why we call this propane, because of the discovery of the acid in the propion flower or whatever it was. Weed. Number 4. This is one of my favorites. When I first learned this, man, I could not forget it. I don't know why. This says more about my personality than anything else. 4 carbons, butane. This is butanoic acid. So this is going to answer the question why BUT was used. Here we go. It turns out that it was found in rancid butter. Rancid butter has a really nasty taste to it, and it's because it's very acidy, and the acid that came out was a 4-carbon acid. So this is called butyric acid. There's butyr. Butter, get it? Butyr, butter, it's a Latin derivative. So bute meant 4 carbons. So that's why we have bute for that over there. Okay? Number 5. So this is a pentane. Yes, not a propane, it's a pentane. So this is pentanoic acid. Dropping E and putting OIC acid. We go, oh, I see acid. See how she moved from over here. Now this is another thing about flora in Italy. Valera is I think that's a flower. again, not 100% sure, but they were able to isolate the 5-carbon, the pentanoic acid out of it. So they called this, you already know it, what's it? They called this valeric acid. From Valor or Valera fluorethane. Number 6 is hexanoic acid. You know what it looks like. I don't have to keep pounding away at the drawing of it. So hexanoic acid. There's 6 carbons in a row. And I don't know how many of you had goat cheese or goat milk, but it has a really distinctive bite to it. That's because of this compound that's found in it. And the Latin word for Greek, if you're a Capricorn in astrology, then you probably know what the Latin word for goat is. It's capro. So this is caproic acid. Now there's a bunch more. We're not going to get them. These are the main 6. But notice the confusion here on OIC. It's only there because capro means go, not because they decide, oh, let's do what all your Greeks do. No. Now the last one's the aromatic acid. This one's used, I believe, Dr. Pepper or one of the cherry type flavored drinks. And there's only one name you have to remember for this, because nobody uses anything else but this name. And that is benzoic acid. Okay? Now, attachments. Like I said, all attachments are made away from the what we call the terminal functional group. So this is carbon number 2, carbon number 3, carbon number 4, carbon number 5. So if I were to put a fluorine here and a chlorine here, then I would have to call this 3-chloral, 2-fluoral pentanoic acid. It's that simple. Or over here, if I put a fluorine here and a chlorine here, that would be 3-chloral, 2-fluoral valeric acid. It's that complicated. So you're going to get some exercise to help you remember these goofy names, some of them. And there it is. So, 6 problems for drawing and naming. Have fun.